Hey everyone, I'm Blake, and welcome back to Built by Becker. We need to have a serious talk about home renovations. Well, as serious as we can get while discussing people spending their life savings on bathtubs they'll never use. Ridiculous, right? That's what we are talking about today. About those moments when you're standing in your new house, Pinterest board open, credit card in hand, ready to transform your space into something magical and excessively expensive. I'm going to show you exactly what to avoid and why. By the end of this video, you'll know how to make smarter renovation decisions that you'll actually be happy with long term. So please comment and share your experiences and questions so we can help with all your renovation needs. Now look, I get it. You just got the keys to your new place and you're bursting with ideas. But before you start knocking down walls or ordering that $10,000 cappuccino maker that does everything except your taxes, let's talk about ROI, return on investment. And I'm not just talking about money here, though that's important too. I'm talking about your quality of life, your daily happiness, and yes, your sanity when you're trying to sell the house 5 years down the road. So let's start with the Instagram kitchen syndrome. You know those beautiful open shelving kitchens you see all over social media? 3 artfully placed plates, a vintage rolling pin, and maybe some mason jars filled with perfectly coordinated dry goods? Well, let me tell you what happens in real life. Unless you're living in a magazine photo shoot, those open shelves quickly become a showcase for your kids' mismatched plastic cups, that random collection of coffee mugs you've accumulated over the years, and enough random kitchen gadgets to stock a small restaurant. Here's the thing. There's a reason cabinets have doors. They're not just there to hide your secret stash of cookies from the kids. They're practical. They keep dust off your dishes. They hide the visual chaos that is real life. And they give you a place to quickly stash things when your mother-in-law makes a surprise visit. I've seen so many people tear out their upper cabinets for that airy, open look, only to realize 6 months later that they have nowhere to put their actual stuff. And let me tell you, replacing those cabinets isn't cheap or easy. Moving on to what I like to call the bathtub burden. Oh boy, this one's my favorite to rail against. You know those gorgeous freestanding soaking tubs you see in every luxury bathroom renovation? They're like the supermodels of the bathroom world. Beautiful to look at, but high maintenance and not very practical for everyday life. Let me tell you a little story. In one of our houses, we had 4 bathrooms and not a single tub. Why? Because we had 2 teenage boys who took showers, a wife who preferred showers, and me. Well, let's just say I'm not exactly the soak in a bath with a glass of wine and a good book type. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a tub, especially if you have little kids or actually enjoy baths. But that Instagram-worthy, massive soaking tub that takes up half your bathroom, it's basically an expensive clothes rack that you have to dust regularly. Now, let's step outside and talk about the outdoor kitchen. Now, I know that you're dreaming of becoming the next outdoor entertaining guru, hosting fantastic dinner parties under the stars. So you invest in this elaborate outdoor kitchen setup. We're talking sink, fridge, pizza oven, the works. Sounds amazing, right? Well, here's the reality check. In some places of this beautiful country, we get maybe 3-4 months of good outdoor weather. That means your fancy outdoor kitchen is sitting unused for 75% of the year. And let me tell you, winter is not kind to outdoor appliances. That beautiful sink, it needs to be winterized. That fancy fridge, it's eating electricity for 8 months while storing nothing but maybe some forgotten condiments. A nice grill? Absolutely. But a full-blown kitchen that costs as much as some indoor kitchens, that's what I call a seasonal money pit. Speaking of outdoor investments that might not pay off, let's talk about swimming pools. Now, before all you pool lovers come at me in the comments, hear me out. The pool itself isn't necessarily the problem. It's the fantasy versus reality of pool ownership that gets people in trouble. You're imagining lazy summer days floating on a raft, the kids having endless pool parties, maybe even doing some morning laps for exercise. But here's what people don't think about: the maintenance. And that's like having a part-time job. Then, the heating costs. Your utility bill will make you want to cry. The insurance, yes, it goes up. And the fact that in many areas, you can only use it for a few months out of the year. And even in the perfect scenario, with the perfect house in the perfect location, a pool might add maybe 7% to your home's value. Sounds good until you realize that installing a pool often costs way more than that 7% increase in value. Now let's talk about high-end appliances. Those professional-grade showpieces that look straight out of a Michelin star restaurant. The ones with more buttons than a NASA control panel and price tags that could make your wallet cry. So, unless you're running a catering business from home, or you're a serious foodie who'll actually use every feature, you're basically paying for an expensive set of bells and whistles that'll mostly go unused. I recently watched a documentary about how modern appliances are basically built to break. My mother still has a washing machine that's been running for 30 years. Try finding that kind of longevity today. These fancy appliances often have complicated electronic systems that can be expensive to repair. And when they break, notice I said when, not if, you might need to call in a specialist just to figure out what's wrong. That $5,000 coffee maker that does everything except tuck you into bed at night, in 5 years it's still just going to make coffee, assuming it still works. And that super premium range with enough BTUs to launch a rocket, for most buyers it's just going to heat up mac and cheese just like any other stove. Now, here's a dangerous trend that keeps popping up in renovations, sacrificing bedrooms for storage space. Are you really thinking about taking a perfectly good 3-bedroom house and turning it into a 2-bedroom just to create a massive walk-in closet that could fit a small army's worth of clothes? Storage is important, but let's be real. Bedrooms are more needed. Living spaces are precious. And one of the biggest mistakes homeowners make is reducing the number of bedrooms in their house. The temptation is real. That extra walk-in closet or home office might seem like a dream come true. But here's the problem. A 3-bedroom house holds significantly more value than a 2-bedroom one, and you can't easily add that bedroom back when you need it. Sure, storage space is fantastic, but there are smarter ways to get it without sacrificing an entire room. Remember, homes are built with a certain number of bedrooms for a reason, and drastically changing that layout can seriously impact your home's future value and appeal. Next up is the fantasy of extreme landscaping. Another major renovation pitfall. We've all seen those perfectly manicured gardens in home magazines, the ones with more plant varieties than a botanical garden. But here's the reality they don't show you. The small army of gardeners it takes to maintain that look, the water bill that rivals the GDP of a small country, and the endless battle against nature trying to turn your carefully planned paradise back into a jungle. I'm not saying don't landscape. Please, for the love of curb appeal, do something with your yard. But there's a happy medium between abandoned lot and Versailles. A well-planned lawn, some strategic trees for shade, and manageable flower beds can look fantastic and won't require you to take up gardening as a full-time job. Remember, every fancy feature you add to your landscape is something you'll need to maintain or pay someone else to maintain for as long as you own the house. Another major renovation mistake, those massive outdoor play structures. I know your kids are young, full of energy, and begging for one of those elaborate backyard playgrounds. They look like small castles, complete with swings, slides, climbing walls, and maybe even a zip line. It seems perfect. The kids will play outside more, get exercise, and you'll feel like parent of the year. But fast forward 2 years, the kids have discovered video games, the wood is starting to weather, and that elaborate play structure has become the world's most expensive bird perch. I've lived this personally. We bought our playground equipment used it for a while, then passed it on to another family because kids grow up fast and their interests change even faster. That permanent, expensive play structure, not so permanent in terms of actually being used. Now let's talk about another renovation trap, falling for trendy design choices. Remember popcorn ceilings and wood paneling, shag carpets and avocado-colored appliances? Home trends age just as badly. The key is knowing which trends to embrace and which ones to avoid, especially when it comes to expensive, permanent features. The golden rule, if it's expensive to change, keep it classic. Paint color you love? Go wild. It's relatively cheap and easy to change. But that ultra trendy backsplash tile that looks like something from a sci-fi movie? Maybe think twice. The key is to think about whether you'll still love it in 5, 10, or 15 years. Next up, a classic renovation mistake: converting your garage into living space without thinking it through. Sure, that home gym or art studio sounds amazing, but where are you going to park your car? Where will you store all the stuff that naturally gravitates to a garage? You know, like holiday decorations, tools, bikes, and all those boxes you swear you'll go through someday. The garage, as unglamorous as it might be, serves a crucial function in most homes. Before you decide to transform it into something else, really think about where all that garage stuff will go. Because let me tell you, your car won't appreciate being parked in the driveway during a winter, and your neighbors won't appreciate looking at all your stuff piled up outside. To avoid most of these mistakes, I suggest following a rule. Live in the house before making major changes. You need to understand how you actually use the space, not how you think you'll use it. Where do you naturally drop your keys? Where do the groceries land when you come home? Where does the dog's leash end up? These daily patterns should inform your renovation decisions, because at the end of the day, your home should work for you, not the other way around. Don't get so caught up in what's trending or what looks good on social media that you forget about how you actually live. The best renovations are the ones that make your daily life better, easier, and more enjoyable. And of course, those that ensure you will receive a good reward when you decide to sell. That's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. This is Blake from Built by Becker, signing off until next time.